What's up, my brother?
Alright, listen, the OPBR meta right now, it doesn't make sense. And if Bandai doesn't buff the right characters soon, this meta is only gonna get worse. So let's talk about what's actually happening. We recently got Blackbeard V2, and don't get me wrong, okay? He's insane. He deals massive damage to DF users, he takes reduced damage also, and he even performs well against Navy at some point. So basically he counters power users, Navy, and a huge part of the current roster is power user in Navy. But here's where the problem starts. Before Blackbeard V2, the meta already had an issue. Kizaru, of course. Kizaru was, and still, is toxic. Then Bandai released Gear 5 Luffy V2. And Gear 5 V2 was actually doing something important, in my opinion. He was the real check against Kizaru, right? Not perfect, sometimes it's getting clapped also, but effective. And now, my brother, Blackbeard V2 counters Gear 5 V2 harder than he counters Kizaru. So what happens? The one unit keeping Kizaru in check is struggling while Kizaru is still shining. That's why the meta feels bad, in my opinion. And also if you don't have a Blackbeard and Kizaru, like what you can do though. That's why all the units feel unusable right now. That's why League feels frustrating for others. Not me, no cap. This isn't a smooth counter cycle, it's a broken one, in my opinion, and that's exactly why buffs matter right now. Now, let's be real. OPBR buffs are not random, but they're also not always logical. They are reactionary, in my opinion. A recent example before Blackbeard V2 drop, Bandai buffed multiple Blackbeard pirates, right? Or some Blackbeard pirates. Also, we have a Blackbeard pirate rebanner, which is Kuzan. That's not a coincidence. Oh wait, I almost forgot Kobe fighting Blackbeard. You know, they usually support a theme, prepare the meta, or patch a problem they created themselves. So the real question isn't who deserves a buff, it's who fixes the meta right now. And when you look at what Blackbeard V2 counters, the answer becomes pretty obvious. If Blackbeard V2 destroys Devil Fruit users and performs well against Navy, then logically the best counter is someone who is not a DF user, not a Navy. Who do you think it is? I think that's Shanks. And that's why Shanks makes the most sense, right? Shanks is pure hockey, a Blackbeard rival at some point, and I think it naturally fits as a balanced unit. Now the question becomes, which Shanks? I have an option. Option number 1, Film Red Shanks. One of the oldest EX Shanks we have used to be broken, but a Film Red Shanks buff would help against Blackbeard and maybe pressure Kizaru at some point. I think that's what we need though. And bring balance without introducing another broken unit. I think this is safe buff at some point. And we have option 2, of course. It's Divine Departure Shanks. This is the newer EX Shanks, and if Bandai wants controlled power instead of nostalgia buffs, this one makes sense, and I would love it though, no cap. A small survivability or consistency buff here could, yeah, let him contest Blackbeard, punish over aggressive Kizaru play, and I think that should happen without destroying the meta, right? If a single unit can counter this 2 busted broken character right now, I think that would be awesome. So to be clear, if Bandai wants balance, Film Red Shanks. If Bandai wants meta control, yeah, Divine Departure Shanks sounds good though at some point. Now, I'm gonna say this clearly. This is a crazy theory of mine, okay? And I don't think it will happen, but it's worth mentioning in my opinion. What if Mr. Tenape is watching? He might do this at some point. So Gear 5 Luffy V1 recently appeared in a rebanner. Now usually rebanners don't mean buffs, but Gear 5 is the main character, right? If he ever gets buffed, I don't think it will be insane power creep, but something like a minor role flexibility, better survivability, slight consistency upgrades for Gear 5 V1. People talk about color switching. and crazy stuff, I think that's too much. But it's a cool idea. But I think I'm the only one who's thinking about the color change when it comes to Gear 5 V1. That would be awesome at some point. And yeah, it is a cool idea, I'm not gonna lie. But realistically, it's probably not, okay? So I'm not betting on this one. I'm just keeping it on my radar because I want Gear 5 V1 to be back in the meta at some point. Now let's talk about you. Yeah, you. What should players do right now? First, don't panic. It's organic. If you are under around 1.2k, or let's say you don't have any RDS, let's say 1.2k RDS, because I'm seeing a lot of people with over 1k RDS right now. Saving is your best move. And yeah, by the way, a lot of people are asking me if they should summon. I think saving is your best move right now. If you are, let's say you are above 1.2k, still save until you have guarantee. I think that's the best thing you can do. We might get a rebanner, and also if we're gonna get a buff unit, they will drop those banners also. So you kind of want to be ready. Also, when it comes to your gold fragments, make sure to have 1.2k at least, so you are ready when they drop a new character. And once you got lucky, you can just max it out. Also, there's a lot of people who's asking me about those gold fragments. Okay, if you have a 1.2k, wait, I have the same example. Okay, if you have 1.2k gold fragments, make sure to stay on that. So over 1.2k gold fragments, you can use it for your character or max out your certain character that you want, right? But make sure to save at least 1.2k gold fragments. Second, wait before pulling. Give new units at least 2 to 3 days, and yeah, again, just check them out though. If we have a buff character, wait for 2 to 3 days before summoning and try to feel if their impact is impacting. Because my brother, right now, patience is stronger than any unit. Alright, a quick update because this is just makes everything more important. We're getting rebanners very soon. We have an EX0 rebanner coming around Feb 12, and then a Kizaru rebanner around Feb 16. And I want you to really think about this. A lot of players are going to summon on Kizaru. He's still strong, he's still annoying, and he still performs well in this meta. But that's exactly why this feels like a bait. Because if Bandai already knows the meta is unstable and buffs are coming, then draining Rainbow Diamonds right before that happens is the perfect setup. Zoro's rebanner? Well, honestly, I'm not even sure how many people will go for him. But Kizaru? Yeah, that's where a lot of RDS will disappear. So my advice right now is simple. Protect your Rainbow Diamonds. If buffs drop after these rebanners, you don't want to be the player sitting at 0 RDS, watching the meta shift. Just like Mr. Salty Rock right here. No RDS, 0 RDS. We are so cooked up. Especially if a Shanks buff is gonna happen, or a Shanks buff happens, we are cooked. Or a new EX suddenly appears, ooh, hook. So this is how F2P players get trapped. Not by bad units, but by perfectly timed banners. So think twice before you summon. Okay, and just to be clear, this is my prediction, not a guarantee, okay? Bandai can always surprise everyone, but based on the meta, the patterns, and the problem we have right now, Shanks makes the most sense. I can't wait for this though. Now I want to hear it from you though. Who do you think deserves a buff right now? Shanks, Gear 5, or someone else entirely? Let me know, okay? Let me know in the comments. And you know what? That's it for this video, my brother. You know the drill. Stay salty and stay awesome, and salty rock. Now signing off.